Hey, what's good guys? This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. Today in this video, we're going to discuss 1.2 lenses and why they're so special and why they cost so much money. I get this question asked all the time. Should I spend up north of $2,000 for a 1.2 lens? I'll just get the 1.8. I'll be fine. There's not much of a difference. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about that, why the 1.2s are special, why people pay the big bucks for them, and what the differences really are. So on the screen right now, you have two 50mm Z-mount autofocus lenses. On the right, you have the premium, the most expensive Z-mount autofocus 50mm lens you can buy today, which is the f1.2 Nikkor. Costs over $2,000 US. On the left, we have the least expensive 50mm autofocus Z-mount lens you can buy, made by Viltrox, which cost a little over $300 US. They're both 50mm lenses. How come the 50.1.2 on the right is so much bigger and heavier than the 50.1.8 and so much more expensive? By the way, Nikon makes a 1.8 version of the 50mm, which is roughly about the same size as the Viltrox. Now on the screen you see the size difference. Now there's a lot more glass elements, hence the 1.2 aperture size. You can open the aperture much wider and let a lot more light in your sensor. A lot more elements, a lot more glass elements, a lot more coatings. The lens on the 1.2 is corrected for focus breathing and much more functionality. You have features like a function button. Build quality is just a lot better. The focus ring on the 50.1.2 is just smooth as butter. You get a customizable focus ring on the 1.2. On the Viltrox lens on the left, you get a focus ring. You also get an aperture ring. The Viltrox feels okay. The aperture rings is less to be desired. I don't like the fact that it does not click. It just turns and it just makes a weird noise, kind of sticky. But when I go over to the Nikon, 9-day difference, guys. Like I said, there's a reason why you pay over $2,000 for a lens like this. The focus ring does feel really nice and smooth, well constructed. Even the custom ring here in the bottom feels really good and smooth. And you can see the difference in build quality big time. Now let's take a look at the front element. As you can see, the 1.2 has a larger opening and a larger front element, a much larger front element than the cheaper Viltrox. The 50.1.8 Nikon does have a similar front element like the Viltrox. They're both 1.8 lenses. Now here's a closer look at the rear elements of each lens. The more expensive 1.2 is weather sealed. The Viltrox is not. You can just tell the materials used on the Nikkor lens is of premium quality. The Viltrox, although it looks pretty impressive, you can see the quality difference. So is it worth getting a 50.1.2 lens? What will you be using these lenses for? Is the difference really worth it? Well, now I'm going to show you some photography examples of both lenses. Let's take a look at that. Wide open. Stop it down a little bit as well. We're also going to do video side by side and let you see the difference side by side. So let's get that going. Okay, so first up we have the Nikon Z 50.1.2 at different aperture settings, 1.2, 1.8, 2.8, f4. So you could see the difference and how sharp the images are rendered on a Z6. Let's go ahead and shift it to the Viltrox 50.1.8 lens. Same picture, but different aperture settings, 1.8, 2.8, and f4. Now let's do a side-by-side. Nikon and Viltrox both shot at 1.8. Let's scale it in 400% so you could see the sharpness difference. As you could see, the 1.2 lens on the left is sharper than the 1.8 at 1.8. Here's side-by-side, wide open, the Nikon at 1.2 and the Viltrox at 1.8. You can still see at 1.2 the Nikon is really an amazing lens. I'm focusing right on that natural mountain spring water. Here, take a look at 1.2 on the 50 Nikon at 1.8, 50 Nikon, and the Viltrox at 1.8. The images are a little brighter with the Nikon lens on. Let's scale this image 300%, both shot at 1.8. The Nikon is just a little sharper in my opinion. Here you have the Viltrox at different aperture ranges. Let's go ahead and switch it to the Nikon. 1.8 to f8. If you need to pause and take a look at the images, go ahead and do so. These are all raw images straight from the camera. The Nikon is a little sharper here, both shot at 1.8. Let's go ahead and change it to f8. This is pretty much almost the same image. I give the edge to the Nikon at f8, 200% scale. Here's an example of 1.2 bokeh and 1.8 on the Viltrox, same image, same camera. Now the CA test, chromatic aberration, wide open, both lenses, they suffer a little bit from CA, but when you stop the Nikon down to 1.8, pretty much does a better job than the Viltrox, wide open. Now we're gonna do a focus smooth transition test. I'm gonna be shifting focus point when doing video from the apple to the avocado. Who likes avocados? I do. First up is the Nikon. With the Nikon 51.2, you got a lot of glass in there that's focusing and it's doing its thing. It's not the smoothest transition, but you know, it's doing a pretty good job. Now let's do the Viltrox here. Do the same test on the Viltrox. It's a little slower to focus, but just a little smoother, I think, but a lot slower than the Nikon. The Viltrox at 1.8 doing 4K 30 frames per second on a Z6. Now let's bring in the other lens, the 51.2 right here. 51.2 at 1.2, identical settings, two Nikon Z6s, 4K 30 frames per second. I have Kelvin set both at 5600K. Now on the left we have again the 51.2 at 1.2, same settings, and on the right we have the Viltrox at 1.8. The Nikon's recording at 1.2 wide open, and the Viltrox at 1.8. 50mm lenses, both on a Z6 cameras, identical settings. You notice, of course, you get more light with the 1.2, and again, I did this on purpose. I set identical settings on purpose so we could just see the difference of amount of light you get with the 1.2 lens doing 4K video. But now let's do this. Let's set the 1.2 lens at 1.8 and record both cameras at 1.8 right here. Now we have both cameras, both lenses set at 1.8, identical apertures. Now it's tough to get the cropping exactly correct. I had to make room for both cameras. As you see here, the 1.2 lens is a little bit off to the side, but you get an idea of what's going on here. Both cameras, both lenses set at 1.8 right now. Again, identical settings on two Z6s, 4K 30 frames per second, identical white balance, identical ISO at 100, doing 30 frames per second. I have the shutter speed set at 1/60th of a second. If you have the money, guys, like I said, the 1.2 is a beautiful, beautiful lens. I will be bringing you more photography videos using the 51.2 in the future on this channel. So please like, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit that thumbs up button. Hopefully you like this video, guys. Like I said, go out and shoot. You'll see the magic of the 51.2 lens out and about doing your photography. You won't really see the magic in here, but this is more of a controlled, scientific, quote unquote, environment, which I'm okay with. You know, I'm not a big fan of shooting these control tests in here. I'd rather go out and put these lenses to good use in real photography scenarios, real photography situations, like model shoots, wedding photography, candidates, you name it. You know, the 51.2 lens is a beautiful lens. Having that 1.2, and if you missed my review, my full-on review of the 51.2 lens, I did do a full-on review of that 50mm Nikon 1.2 lens. I'll put the link in the description and above right here. Check out that review. So well worth the lens, $2,100. And if you just need a nifty 50 and you want something cheap or a backup to your 50mm, that Viltrox does work well, as you saw from the samples right here. And I also did I also have a review of the 50-1.8 as well. So they're both Z-mount lenses, they're both autofocus, but they're different in their own right, as they should be. I mean, price difference big time, quality difference big time, the glass, the speed, the build quality, just different lenses for different purposes and different budgets, which is that's the biggest issue here is budget, right? Budget friendly 50mm. Again, Nikon does make the 1.8 Z mount, which is a lot better than this Viltrox for double the price of the Viltrox. So you have three options. You have a 50-1.8 Viltrox autofocus full frame lens. You have 50mm 1.8 lens from Nikon Z mount, which is a phenomenal lens for the money. Phenomenal lens for them. And then you have the exotic, more expensive, top of the line, that 50mm 1.2. That's just the cream of the crop, top of the line, amazing bokeh monster 50mm, very unique 1.2 lens. And by the way, I also have a review of the 50Z Nikon lens. A couple of years ago, we went to Napa Valley. I did some photos there and videos. Check out that review. All the videos that I mentioned we'll put in the description below and above, so you can watch reviews of these three lenses. So if you would ask me which one you should get, middle of the road, the 1.8 50mm Nikon. You won't go wrong with that lens. If you have the money, if you want to splurge and you want the top of the line glass, the 50-1.2 is the lens to get. You know that lens will be with you forever. And then when it's time to maybe sell it, you know you're not going to lose a lot of money on it, because these lenses tend to hold their value, especially at 1.2. They're highly sought after glass. The Viltrox, again, is a cheap, inexpensive, good performer for the money. So you decide which one you want. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you saw, what you're thinking about. If you're on the fence, what lens you would pick for the money. Again, the Viltrox is 300 plus. The Nikon Z 50-1.8 is about 600. And this 50-1.2 top of the line lens is about $2,100. See you on the next video. Always remember, rock and roll.